Good afternoon. This is Jocelyn Pomplin here with UAFS Athletics, and I'm here with UAFS head men's basketball coach Jim Boone and seniors Matthew Wilson and CJ Rollins as part of the LSC Basketball Online Media Day. Coach, we'll start with you. How does it feel to kind of have a return to normalcy for this season?
It's been absolutely awesome. We've not had any disruptions or interruptions due to outside things that we can't control. Obviously, last year dealing with COVID was very difficult for our young team. We had, I think, 6 freshmen, and you're practicing 2 days in November and a handful of days in January, which maybe are 2 of the most critical months that you have in your development of your team. It was hard. It was really hard. Now, with that being said, we were all grateful that we had the opportunity to compete, to play a game that we all love. But it made it difficult to do the things we needed to do to be successful. And part of our deal being successful is finding a way for our team to play. You know, we can't play the same as everyone else. We've got to choose a different path, and we clearly must establish an identity. We didn't have an opportunity to do that a year ago. So getting back to your question, in this season, we've made great strides forward in identifying that identity and the way that we're going to have to play in order to be the best version of ourselves. In large part, a big part of that's been because of these 2 guys. And that's another reason that I would be very grateful for last year, because both Matthew and CJ had an opportunity to play a lot of minutes in some really good games. Matthew closed the season very strong. CJ played consistently throughout the season and played through an injury at the end of the season and played through that very well. So to have them both back, the experience they bring, the quality of play that they bring, the understanding of who we are that they bring, that's a blessing. So we're excited to have both of those 2 guys back in our program.
You kind of answered my next question in there at the end, talking a little bit about these 2 seniors you have sitting next to you.
Yeah. Matthew's been in our program now for 5 years. He spent a couple years with us at Delta State. He helped lead a team to a conference championship. He was the MVP of the conference tournament. He transitioned here with us, has started, I think, probably every game, if not close to every game, the last 2 years. And as much as last year was difficult, I think it was really good, particularly for these 2 guys and Matthew, from the standpoint of leadership, of seeing the importance of practice, the importance of understanding that how we win, how we go about being successful. CJ's getting an incredible opportunity here as a graduate to have a chance to play, and this his 5th year. He led the league last year in field goal percentage. Which is a very important stat to me. His rebounding was outstanding. His defensive play, he is without question our best defensive post player, and that's really important to us. And I think he heads up that front line that we have that we'll talk about here in a few minutes, just with his attitude and his effort on a daily basis. So to have these 2 guys back, and not only because they're really good basketball players, but they're both really good people, and they epitomize all the things that we want our program to be about.
Now, I'm going to open this up to all of you. You're all going into year 3. What are some of the differences between this year's team compared to the other last 2 teams?
I can take that one. So with the first year, it's always difficult with a new coach and come in a new system and everything. I was the only one kind of who knew what he wanted, and so it was kind of my job to lead the way by example of kind of what he wanted as a coach and a program. And with it being year 3, now you have guys who've been here for 3 years, and I think we have 4, 5, 6 of those guys here. So they you have a wide variety of leaders who know what he wants now, and it just helps us to be a better basketball team as a whole, knowing that.
And then kind of going into the next one, is the 2 of the 3 seniors on the roster, what kind of leadership responsibilities have you guys taken on this year?
Really just coming in high energy. We try to pick out some of the guys mess up before coach can get to it, so that way they can come to us as more of like a leader instead of having coach fuss at them or say anything. So we just want to be the guy that they can come to, really like the big brother.
And it's about setting an example in the locker room too, kind of like what I talked about before. We're the extension of him, so that's our job in the locker room and in the classroom and over at the apartments and dorms too. So.
You guys were picked 11th in the preseason poll. What are some expectations for you this season? I'll open this one up to all of you.
Let me start with that. We don't put any credence whatsoever into any preseason polls, no matter where we would be, 1st or 17th. Those are purely a reflection upon last year. And we've talked briefly, and I know everybody had to go through tough times last year, but to try to navigate a team through COVID, through limited amounts of practice in November and January, and to have 6 freshmen, and I think 9 or 10 of our 13 players at that time were underclassmen, through a season is a heck of a challenge. I would rather just focus on our team, and as I mentioned before, the importance of us clearly establishing and understanding our identity in the way that we're going to have to proceed to be successful and be the best version of us. And this group is off to a great start in large part because we have flipped the table. Now experience is the biggest thing that we have different from a year ago, from 2 years ago. We've got guys that have been in our program for 5 years, 3 years, 3 years, 3 years, 2 years, on down the line. And we've added a couple of transfers to that group that also are great people and fit who we want to be. And even though they may not understand exactly how we're going about things, they have both been coached, and I'm speaking of Cam Bush and Courtney Morrell. They've both been coached hard, they've been coached well, and they're a reflection of that coaching. And so they're ready for this moment. They're going to have to learn on the fly and learn quickly, but they're doing a great job with that. So rather than talk about preseason accolades or what have you, we're really just trying to focus on us and being the best we can be.
You guys have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, when we play a game, we're not looking ahead at who's ranked where in the conference. Like, we just take it one game at a time and focus on that team and what we can do to beat them. So.
And Coach, you touched on a little bit with the transfers. Who are some new faces that we can expect to contribute this season?
Well, those are probably the 2 most notable, Cam Bush and Courtney Morrell. They have really helped our approach defensively, which, as you already know, is very important to us. They've added quickness, they've added athleticism, They've added a degree of toughness to our perimeter, which we needed. We instantly, even though those two didn't understand everything that we do on the defensive end, instinctually we became a much better defensive team because of their quickness and athleticism and understanding of how to play basketball. So you take those two guys, and then I think the three guys that we have coming back from last year. Evan Anderson, who started every game last year, who was a starter as a freshman at the end of his freshman year 2 years ago. Evan is he's a coach's dream. He's easy to coach. He's very intelligent. He has become, in my mind, he is the best defensive player in our league. Every night in and night out, he has guarded the other team's best player and makes a significant impact upon that person. He was forced to handle the ball for us last year, which was really good for him. It made him a better player. He's also a very good shooter. Justice Cooper, who was a freshman last year, now has a year under his belt. And albeit an abbreviated year, still experience. He's been through the Lone Star now. He understands a little bit how difficult this league is, how good the teams are, how well they're coached, how well they're prepared, and what you have to bring out every single day in practice. And he has been absolutely phenomenal to this point. And then I would add Daryl McElrath, who finished our season really strong last year. Helped us win a key game here against St. Ed's, one of the better teams in our league. So those three guys, coupled with the two transfers we have and the upperclassmen that we have, I think gives us a really good blend of some youth, experience, and as I said, we kind of flipped the table. Now, you had also asked earlier, and I would add this to the mix. What things are different? What are we seeing different? We talked about experience, which has been a huge part. We talked about bolstering our quickness and athleticism on the perimeter. And lastly, I would say something that I'm very excited about is our front court and just the physicality that our front court has, the ruggedness, the toughness, the meanness, if you will, to get in there and compete and work and fight. And we're going to have that. We're going to have to be a physically dominant front line if we're going to have a chance to be the defensive team and consequently be as good as we'd like to be. So I've been really excited with that here in our first couple of weeks, 3 weeks here now that we've been working out on the court. That group has been everything I thought it would be and then some. So yeah.
Back to Matt and CJ. What are some things you guys worked on in the offseason to improve?
One thing I focused on a lot was with last year and the three-point line actually getting moved back for us. I worked on shooting farther outside just so I'm ready for that transition. Another thing is I was in the weight room a lot the whole summer trying to improve my quickness and strength level. Those were the two main things I focused on.
I focused on getting stronger first, and second, probably just becoming a more consistent shooter. That way I'm more like a double threat. I can drive it, and I can shoot it if you leave me open. And I also worked on free throws, trying to work on getting my free throw percentage up.
Is there anything else anyone would like to add?
We're really excited about this group. It's taken us a while to get to this point, dealing with some of the adversity that we had to deal with last year with COVID. I know we're not over the hump yet. We're still battling that on a daily basis, but our team has done a great job with that. As I said, we've had 0 interruptions. We've had 100% of our team at every workout, which was something we couldn't say a year ago. And this group has not only been very dedicated to coming in every day and being the best they can be, they've been extremely coachable. And I know we as a coaching staff are very excited to embark upon this season and move into games. You know, I will say this as well. We didn't have an opportunity to have a fall last year. We didn't have an opportunity to play scrimmage games or exhibition games. We didn't have an opportunity to play any out-of-league games. And with a young team that you're trying to develop, basically we just threw them right to the fire. And it took us, we had to learn our way to February, but I really felt like once we got to February, we became a pretty good basketball team. We had 2 or 3 really huge wins at the end of the season. So I believe we've carried that momentum from last year into this year. And that coupled with the fact that we've had a fall, we've had a fall in the weight room, we've had we're going to have a preseason here with a number of scrimmage games and exhibition, and that coupled with our preseason schedule is hopefully going to put this group in a much better position to know more about themselves and who we are and what we're going to need to do as we jump into Lone Star play, as opposed to last year when we just kind of jumped right into it. So I'm excited about this group and excited about what's ahead, and we're looking forward to that.
All right, well, thank you, Coach, Matt, CJ, for joining us today, and good luck this season.
Thank you.
Thank you.